Globalization. We offer here the word globalization in many contexts and repeated frequently as a concept to denote more trade, foreign companies, and even the ongoing economic crisis. Before we launch into our full-fledged discussion of the term in its various concepts, it is important to consider what exactly we mean when we say globalization. Globalization, it is a vast topic that encompasses many important concepts having to do with the way the business, technology, environment, culture, social media, and the society function on a global scale. Globalization is the word used to describe the growing interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, and populations, brought by cross-border trade in goods and services, technology, and flows of investment, people, and information. Alright, now you have an idea what we meant when we say globalization. Let's now proceed on its different concepts, the social, cultural, environmental, political, and education.
Globalization has major consequences for high, middle, and low-income countries. Some would argue that globalization has spread wealth and led to the improvement of standards of living. Others claim that it is creating an unfair world where the rich countries exploit the world's poorest people and it has increased the development gap.
Globalization provides positive impacts to the society.
First, multinationals provide new jobs and skills. They also bring foreign currency to local economies when they buy local products and services. The mixing of people and cultures from all over the world enables the sharing of ideas and lifestyle, creating vibrant cultural diversity. People can take holidays in far-off locations. Consumers enjoy a greater choice of goods and services at cheaper prices. Migration of people can fill labor and skill shortages. It helps make people more aware of global issues such as desertification and global warming. And globalization as well enables governments to work together to tackle global issues or respond to events such as natural disaster. Even though globalization provides positive impacts to the society, there's also negative impacts that we can't consider. First, globalization operates mostly in the interests of the richest countries who continue to dominate world trade. Multinational companies may drive local companies out of the business and are sometimes more powerful than the governments of the countries in which they invest. Also, globalization is a threat to the world's cultural diversity, threatening the local traditions and languages and making the whole world more uniform to fit the Western model. Some nations feel that they are losing control over key decisions and sacrificing their sovereignty. Migration of people across the world can cause social tensions and conflicts of ideologies.
Studies also suggest that globalization may contribute to income disparity and inequality between the more educated and less educated members of a society. This means that unskilled workers may be affected by declining wages, which are under constant pressure from globalization.
The negative impacts of globalism as it is practiced on culture and traditions. The very process of modern corporate capitalism is to minimize diversity for efficiency. Culture and traditions are considered only to the extent that the local market will not tolerate the preferred global products and thus will, as is its imperative attempt to tailor the products to meet the local demand until such point as the demand can be diluted and subverted into the larger global context. And the positive effect of culture in globalization is you can purchase cheaper goods, communicate with individuals from all over the world, and work in just about any country. Importantly, globalization has also opened our eyes to various cultures, which has increased people's understanding of one another.
Globalization has a lasting impact on the environment. So, the positive effects will be the environmentally sound production technologies and knowledge can be transferred. The Green Revolution introduced to increase crop yield through new seed varieties and imported technology. The sample of plants and animal species can be archived, and also one is the carbon combustion has decreased through the use of alternative energy sources. And the negative effects, first is the increased transport of goods. One of the primary results of globalization is that it opened businesses up to new markets in which they can sell goods and source labor, raw materials, and components. This increased transport of goods can impact the environment in several ways, including increased emissions, habitat destruction, and invasive species. The second one is the economic specialization. Unfortunately, over-specialization can threaten forest health and lead to serious environmental issues, often in the form of habitat loss, deforestation, or natural resource overuse. Example is the overfishing in coastal areas that include Southeast Asia, which has significantly contributed to reduced fish populations and oceanic pollution.
Advantages of political globalization. First is establishment of international norms. When nation-states sign treaties with international bodies, it's an agreement to operate within a set of norms and standards that all signatories will adhere to. Second is ease of movement. Often, political agreements between nations leads to relaxing of the movement of labor across boundaries. This can lead to immigration and immigration opportunities for millions of people. Disadvantages of political globalization. First is loss of power at the nation-state level. When nation-states make multinational agreements, they often make concessions in order to reach a middle ground that's satisfactory to all parties. They also signed off on certain norms and standards that restrict their abilities to unilaterally take action. And second is decreased political accountability. One of the biggest critics of bodies like the WTO, the EU, and United Nations is that they are full of unelected bureaucrats.
Education is a major concern for all societies, as the foundation and essential driving force for economic, social, and human development. There are few positive impacts of globalization in education. Globalization has improved the quality of education. Countries get the opportunity to witness the best education systems worldwide. New methods of learning such as e-learning, blended learning was quickly adopted by many countries due to globalization. Because of globalization, foreign universities were established in developing countries. These universities helped many students in getting a high-quality education. At the same time, globalization potentially creating serious negative impacts in education. Not everyone has access to quality education. The improved education due to globalization is only beneficial for the rich and people of urban areas. There is a huge gap between rich, poor, and urban rural areas and access to educational opportunities. Globalization is further widening these gaps because those who utilize the opportunities will improve their economic status.
Overall, the argument whether globalization is beneficial or harmful is still being discussed. It can strengthen group identification and enable individual and group distinction, but it can also be a tool for misrepresentation, disempowerment, and further colonization. Globalization can enhance cultural variety by making it possible for groups to continue practicing their own set of ideas, customs, and values while still trying to make a difference in society. We would like to thank you for your time and effort in listening and watching to our video. Thank you so much for your interest.